We'd like to welcome you back to the Barber Biz Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Brown, and our episode, of course, is sponsored by JRL Consulting. And today we have another special guest, Drew Munoz. How you doing today, sir? You good?
Hey, how you doing? Good, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you being on with us today. So the most important question of the day that I'm going to ask you is, why are you a Florida fan?
Because I'm born and raised here, so all 38 years right here in Sunshine State. So I'm riding with Florida all the way.
Yeah, I'm actually from Boston originally, but I'm a Michigan fan. So we've had some run-ins with you guys last few years. It seems like every other bowl season we're playing Florida.
Hey, listen, we try to get in there as much as we can.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. So, how long have you actually been cutting hair?
So I've been licensed now since '03. So it's going on the 18th year here coming up, which I'm pretty excited about. I started much like every other barber, few years in the garage, in the house, just playing around with it, seeing if it was something that would mature over time, and it did. And pretty grateful, man. Like I would have never thought that I could have been, in the position that I am now, way back then. So it's a true blessing.
That's funny. That's actually the same year I got my license.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got it in February 2003. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. About the same. I think mine was like March.
Okay. So did you have any idea that you wanted to cut hair at all? Did you have something else in mind, or did it just happen?
No, it kind of just fell in my lap. A buddy of mine at the time, that real good friend of mine, his father was a master barber and had been so at that time for about 40 years, because he's still doing it now. So he's about 60 years in now. And my buddy decided to, follow in his dad's footsteps, and I really had nothing going on. And so actually seeing him and what he was able to accomplish just in a short period of time back then, kind of made me feel like, man, maybe I'll give this a shot. So I did, and the rest was history.
Okay. So were you an apprentice or did you go to school?
No, I went to school. Yeah, I went to school. But I obviously started cutting hair, shadowing him and his dad for a while before I decided it was something to invest in. And then, then I chose to go to school, probably maybe like a year after.
Okay. So what do you think has helped you over the years to start to kind of build your clientele and start to, really get a good foothold in the industry?
The key component in the building clientele is just making sure that you're available. A lot of people think that building clientele happens when you reach a certain level in the industry of, where you're at as far as cutting hair. Levels are, am I a good barber? Am I a great barber? And that's how you build clientele, which in fact is quite the opposite. You actually build clientele by being available and building relationships, and people forget that. We've gotten so caught up in the industry where the industry is polarizing certain barbers and not so much the others, that people are getting discouraged and saying, well, if I'm not at his level, then I can't have a successful career. And that's wrong. You actually have a successful career by making sure that you're readily available to people that are coming in the shop and building relationships with people when you're not working. And that's how you get people in your chair. So a lot of people don't realize is that, throughout your career, 30% of your clientele becomes somebody's clientele that they don't have anymore. Meaning somebody is not able to sit with the busiest barber in the shop anymore. They used to once be a client of someone else's that you worked with. They actually migrated into your chair. And the reason how is because you were always building a relationship while you weren't cutting hair with that person. You build that trust. Now, all of a sudden, you become the next man up. And so that's what people are missing. It's not about, where you're at skill level. It's where you're at here in the barbershop and being aware of what's going on. You have to understand the businesses in order to grow. You don't have to be the best barber.
Yeah, absolutely. You saying those points reminded me of when I first started cutting hair back in 2003. The best barber in the shop was a beast. I mean, he introduced stuff to me, hot towels, it was all brand new to me. And right. I remember there would be some Saturdays he would come in at 12, 1 o'clock, just really taking his clients for granted. At the time. And I'd always be there 9 o'clock, just sitting there. And I remember he would have a row of clients just waiting on him to come.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, one or two guys like, yeah, man, well, let me give you a shot because I was
Right.
there every single week, every
Right.
single Saturday at 9 o'clock on the dot, you know?
Right.
So like you said, availability, you know, that makes a big difference.
Right.
That's a really good point.
That's what I preach to my guys. You know, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You can only control what you can control. And if you're doing everything right behind your chair that you need to get done, then you're going to build your clientele. And you can do that. You know, I'm a big fan of social media and what it's done for me and how it's changed my life. But you don't have to have a big social media following or social media to be able to handle your business behind your chair.
So you mentioned relationships. How is it that cultivating relationships over the years in the industry has helped you?
In my shop or just amongst other industry leaders?
Let's go with the shop. Let's start with the shop in terms of,
so I mean,
because that's the base, I guess.
Right. So you know, becoming personable with the people that are coming in and out on a daily, you become the reason why people want to come to the barbershop. And that's what it used to be about. You know, things have changed so much over 20 years that we kind of lost and don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for the booking apps and the things that have made us, you know, more organized as barbers, to keep our schedules and keep our chairs spinning, you know, seamlessly. But back in the day, if you think about it, 20 years ago, if you were going to the barbershop, you were going to the barbershop for the day. And that doesn't always mean you were sitting there waiting to get a haircut. You could be sitting there waiting to get a haircut, or you could have gotten your haircut 2 hours ago and you were still hanging out. Mm-hmm. So the barbershop used to be a place where people used to get together and really talk. And it used to be a place to release and release stress and have those conversations with the guys in the shop, girls in the shop. You know, we have girl barbers now, and there were back then too, but don't want to leave them out. But you know, it used to be a place to go to hang out. It was like a quality of life thing, you know. And that's changed drastically. And I still try to have my shop like that as much as I can. But it's sad to see that part of it go because, you know, life's got everybody on a schedule nowadays. You know, we're so fly by the seat of our pants. Yep. And that's just not how it was back in the day, you know. But building those relationships, you build lifelong relationships in the barbershop. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to shake hands with. You never know who you're talking to. And that's the beauty of it. You can have one customer that could change your entire life. And all you have to do is be in tune with that person. Spend a little bit of time getting to know the person that's either in your chair or. So I'm a big believer in customer service and really talking to the people that are coming in and out. I try to build relationships even as an owner with all of my barbers' clients. Whether that just be a simple handshake, a hi, hello, how you doing, get to know you, engage in conversation. You know, I try to do that as much of that as possible because you just never know who's in the shop.
Absolutely. So as you started to grow into the industry, what were some of the challenges that you faced on your journey in terms of like starting to build like your brand, starting to, you know, develop the qualities that you have as an entrepreneur?
I think the hardest part for me for a long time was understanding that staying put, even if you're in an unhealthy situation, is a lot of times more beneficial to you than to move on. And what I mean by that is through the course of 20 years, I've only been an owner for 7. So for 13 of those years, I've worked for a few different people, but had to decide to stay in a situation for 10 or plus more years before making a move. And it's because I've seen a lot of barbers thinking that, well, this isn't the shop, the next one will be it. Or this one's not it, let me go to another shop. You'll see, I'm sure you know guys who have been to 5, 6, 7 different shops in a matter of 2 years.
Yep.
And what they don't understand is that, you know, there's something to learn from those situations. And a lot of the times what you do by you shooting yourself in the foot by, you know, being a shop hopper, so to speak. Staying put in a situation sometimes can teach you more than an actual healthy situation can, because if you plan on being an owner, then you'll learn how to deal with adversity. And you're going to have a lot of that for the entrepreneurs out there that want to own their own business. It's not always easy. It's not always as simple as it may seem. You have to be a facilitator of personality, so to speak. And so to be able to deal with 6, 7, 8 different people and their emotions and, things that they may be going through in their life, you have to understand that you have to learn how to deal with situations. And it's a lot of people think, oh, well, maybe I'll open a barbershop. Well, it's not that simple. And quite often that's why there's shops that open and close quickly.
Yeah. So I like one of the phrases that you mentioned there, facilitating personalities. Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, you have to learn, a lot of people that have worked for me, the one thing that I tell them is I'm never going to treat you like the other barber in the shop or the other barbers in the shop. I'm going to treat you as you. Yeah. And I'm going to, mine and your relationship will be built off of mine and your relationship. So I have certain house rules, but those are very basic rules. As far as what one person may be able to do versus another person is solely based off of that person's situation. And I like to, to deal with people that way. So I'm definitely not a guy who is treat everybody the same across the board, because we're not all the same. And so I think that mentality, that's an old school mentality. And I think that, that type of mentality will, you'll find yourself constantly searching for people. And I have, very good staff. They've been with me a long time. There's only maybe one chair that's, been rotating in rotation for a while, but for the most part, people stay because they feel comfortable, and, our relationships are based solely off of the individual.
Absolutely. So tell us about, I'm just curious to see what's in the water when it comes to barbers in Tampa, because that's where you're based out of, right?
Right. Yeah.
It seems like every time that I see a Florida barber, 7 times out of 10, they're from Tampa. So let me ask you this. How do you view, or do you feel as though there's a competition in any way, or how do you view other shop owners that are in the same area as you?
I would say that competition would be the wrong word to use when it comes to us. I would say more competitiveness would be, we are definitely competitive. So to say that we're not, that would be just feeding you a bunch of bull.
Yeah.
We're highly competitive down here. However, we're actually close knit. And I guess the best way that I can describe it is if you think about, you being a football fan, think about a guy like Bill Parcells.
Yep.
And think about how many coaches, head coaches, and coordinators have come from him. Meaning a lot of us all started under the same guy. And so we all learned together in many ways. We all learned together in the same shop under the same roof. A lot of the owners out here have worked together for years. I know myself, I've worked with at least 3 or 4 owners that are shop owners for longer than I've been a shop owner now. And all with successful careers. We have guys out here that are signed with Babyless Pro. We have guys out here signed with Wall. We have, people out. The owner of Tomb 45 is out here, just 5 miles from me. But we're all very close. We talk almost, monthly. Yep. I would say, and some of us talk weekly, but I would say that the competitiveness is there, but I would say that the ability to call each other up when we have an issue and work it out, whether it be something that we don't like that's going on in Tampa, yep, or whether it just be for some help. I would say that everybody out here is pretty close knit.
Yeah, that's special. That's special. And I like how you describe that, the competitiveness, because you being a sports fan, the competitiveness is only gonna breed more excellence. This is
Right. Right. We definitely push each other. It's funny because, you tend to hit a slump like anything else at sometimes, but once you start to hit that point again where you feel like you're cutting at a high level, me and the guys, we shoot pictures to each other all the time. Yo, what do you think about this? What do you think I'm about to drop this right here? So it really gets them going. It gets us going, gets myself going. I share pictures with a lot of people in Tampa. I'll shoot them stuff all the time. They're like, dang, when you going to put that out? And then they'll start shooting them back to me. So the competitiveness is there, but it's healthy.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So as you started to progress into the industry, how long have you had a relationship with JRL?
So I've been with JRL now going on about 6 years. And, I was previously signed with a clipper company before them. And that relationship ended healthy because I chose to move on and try to do something. I wanted to help. I wanted to be the reason why somebody bought a JRL clipper. You know what I mean? And, some of these companies have been around 100 years. We have at least two in the industry that have been around 100 plus years.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be the reason why somebody buys that clipper. You know what I mean? Those clippers will sell with or without an educator. I wanted to be the reason why when somebody thinks about JRL, they thought about Drew the Barber.
Yep.
And, I wanted to be the reason why somebody decided, hey, I'm going to purchase these because of what they can do. I've seen what they can do. And it's, to me, that was special to try to get something going off the ground, which, I came in pretty much year one.
Yeah.
And, the all we had at that time was the Fresh Fade 1000 and the 1010 trimmer, and that was all we had.
Okay.
And the way we've grown over the last 6 years is just it's incredible. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
So what would you say helps to separate JRL from some of the other clipper companies?
So the thing that's going to separate us from any clipper company on the market is going to be our technology. You can get, and you see, I'm sure, on social media, you can get almost anything to hit or cut the way you like it. Yep. And a lot of people have, used certain models, certain clippers for certain blades, and just, because of the way they hit. You can also modify anything these days. So you can take any blade, make it as sharp as you want it, or make it as dull as you want it. Whether you're doing kids designs, you can pretty much specify everything. But what you can't do is you cannot duplicate the technology that we have. Our clippers are running and lasting longer and at a higher power than any clipper on the market. And that's just facts. If you look around right now, the average cordless clipper is going to go 90 minutes and then it's dead. Our run times are 4 hours at minimum. We also have a clipper out that will run 6 hours, continuous run time at 6,000 RPMs. So, our clippers are more powerful, and the technology in our clippers is just, it's incredible. If you look into them, we have everything from, our clippers sense blade resistance. They tell you how long you have left in run time. They tell you how fast they're running. They tell you when they need oil. It's just it goes on and what our clippers can do.
That's impressive. So let me ask you this. So going forward, if there's a student in school, if there's somebody who's an apprentice, there's somebody who's just home right now, they're stuck in COVID, they're thinking, once this is over, I want to start barbering. What advice would you give them as they are starting their journey into the industry?
Man, I would just tell them that this is probably what this industry can do for you is crazy. This industry has pulled a lot of people up out of bad situations. We have, like I was just saying on a previous podcast a few weeks ago, we have people in our industry that have elevated from jail to the top of the industry. We have guys that had nothing and are very successful now. This industry is a beautiful industry, but you have to work hard. This industry is going to give you what you give it. If you give it 100%, it's going to give you 100%. This industry can also knock you down. Okay, and there's as many good ones as there, meaning as many good people as there are in our industry. There's that many bad ones.
Yeah.
So this is totally there's something, there's a post that I put up all the time, is that in this industry, it takes a person with enough self-respect. You have to have self-respect for yourself in order to succeed in this business. It's individual responsibility. Okay. And that's where it starts. It starts with you. If you can wake up every day and hold yourself accountable to be at work on time, okay, because there's nobody here. There's nobody, in most cases, there's nobody going to call you and tell you, hey, you need to be at work.
Yep.
Okay, you're an independent contractor, and most shops nowadays are running that way. Now, back in the day when we used to work off percentage, that was a little bit of a different story, because now the owner his money is based upon what you do daily. Yep. We've gone to a booth rent industry. So there's not too many owners these days that are hanging over your back. There's not too many owners that are going to care whether you're going to be successful or not, because at the end of the day, they're going to get their money at the end of the week, whether you show up or not. Yeah. So it's up to you. But if you put in the work, you put in the footwork, you're going to be highly successful in this industry. It doesn't come overnight, but you will see that you can climb out of a bad situation. And the reason why I keep reiterating bad situations is because we don't get a lot of guys that are 4-year graduates, 8-year graduates, and saying, hey, look, I just did all this schooling, I want to be a barber.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that's not to knock our industry, and I'm not saying that everybody in our industry comes from that type of lifestyle background or has had it bad. I know a lot of people, I've ran into a lot of people that say, hey, look, I simply like cutting hair, and that's all I wanted to do. I started doing it when I was little, and that's what I wanted to do. But more often than not, you're going to see somebody that might have started a barber class in jail or might not have been able to get another job.
Yeah, yeah.
Or somebody, said, hey, look, come be a barber. Let me show you. Let me show you how to get your life on track. We take in a lot of guys like that, a lot of women like that. And this industry it's beautiful in the sense of we can rehabilitate each other. And but it all starts with you. At the end of the day, the only person that's going to change your situation is you. And the only person that's going to hold yourself accountable daily is you. So if you have enough self-respect for yourself to get up and do the work, you're going to find yourself in a good situation.
Absolutely. That's well said. So just a couple other things. Let me ask you this. Not really ask you, but tell the listeners out there where they can find your shop, what different things you have coming up in the future going forward. We know that you have a class coming up, I think in a week or two. So tell the listeners where they can find you, and also too, what are some of the things that you have coming up in the future?
Yeah, so if you guys want to reach out, I'm Drew the Barber on Instagram. It's a lot of people make the mistake and put the Barber. It's Drew D.A. Barber. Altogether, Drew the Barber. On IG, I'm the lead educator of JRL. I have a class coming up here January 11th, and you can find the link to that class on the JRL website or on the JRL Instagram page. Right here in Tampa, Florida, I own 2 barbershops, one right off of Waters and Hanley. Then I have another one right over in Westfield Citrus Park Mall, and that's the one that I'm located at daily. Yeah, man. And I'm just here, I try to make myself as available as I can. I try to be as responsive as I can when I get a DM or anything. So I encourage, people, anyone that needs any help or, wants to get any information or pick the brain or come by and shadow, just to DM me. And I do my best to try to hit everybody up.
And we really appreciate your time, Drew. We look forward to seeing all the different future successes that you'll have in the industry. Look forward to being at that class too, coming up in January as well. So thank you again for your time. We appreciate your time. We look forward to the next interview.
Thank you, bro. Thank
All
you.
right, man.
Have a good one.
Thanks.